I'm Trevor Alonzo. This is my review of Halloween Ends, the third and final movie in the Blumhouse David Gordon Green trilogy. I didn't think I would have to review this like a Marvel movie. Nearly everything about this movie's plot is a spoiler, and is not in the trailers. This is not the usual Michael Myers story. It's not what the trailers are leading to, that you think the plot is mainly Laurie faces off with Michael one last time. It is in the movie, but it's not the main plot. I do think this is a good movie, but it's definitely a different tone than the last two Halloween movies. That might be why some people hate this movie. But also, if you didn't like the last two Halloween movies, the 2018 and Halloween Kills, then you're not gonna like this one. Although, if you're not ready for change or something different, you won't like this one. Jamie Lee Curtis is great as always, but there are a few parts that felt out of place of her character. I felt like it needed just another line to explain something, or go a little bit deeper. John Carpenter and his son came back to do the music like the last two. As usual, they do an amazing job. I do think this movie is the most sourced music version of Halloween. And what I mean by that, by sourced music, is like there's a song that's clearly not done just for this movie, like it's just a soundtrack. It's not a problem. Andy Methchuk as Laurie's granddaughter does a great job. Her character really grows in this movie. Of course, being a Last Drive-In fan, I have to mention Darcy the Mail Girl has a cameo in this movie. She was good, of course, for the 10 seconds that she's on screen. The kills in this movie are great, but definitely seems like less than the last two movies in this trilogy. Michael Myers isn't in this movie as much, but it is good when he finally shows up. I do recommend this movie for any Halloween fan, or for a good horror movie for the season, but keep in mind to expect something different. I give this a 7 out of 10 pumpkins. Okay, that's as vague as I can really talk about this movie. So, now for spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie yet, stop the video. Spoilers! This movie mainly follows a new character named Corey, who by complete accident kills a kid in the opening. Laurie meets him and at first tries to help him. And this takes place 4 years since the events of the last Halloween movie. The town of Haddonfield is still dealing with the aftermath of Michael Myers. Laurie has moved on, buying a house, trying to live a normal life, while writing a book about her events with Michael. Allison is now living with Laurie and working as a nurse. Corey comes into their life. He seems normal at first. Allison begins a relationship with him, after Laurie persuades her to get out more, almost like she doesn't want her granddaughter to become like her. Until the townspeople start bullying Corey for his accident more. After he gets beat up by a bunch of teenagers and thrown off a bridge, Corey is pulled into a sewer, which turns out to be the home of Michael Myers now. He has been hiding out here for 4 years. Clearly, he has really been wounded by his injuries and not going to the hospital. For some reason, Corey gets away, but starts to go down a dark path from being bullied, and he decides to become a killer like Michael. Laurie notices the changes in Corey and fears for her granddaughter. So that's the basic plot of this movie. It's more of a Corey movie than a Michael movie. Rowan Campbell does a great job as Corey. They kind of did a thing where Michael Myers and Corey Cunningham, it's like the MM or CC, so it has that flow in the name. I do wish Michael was in this movie more. He doesn't show up till around 40 minutes. Laurie is trying to move on, but at times you can tell she isn't, and it's more like she's just acting that way. Yeah, I wish I could have done more with that. She is flirting a lot with the sheriff from the last two movies. I wish he was in the movie more. A big theme of this movie is, are you born evil, or is evil put into you? Corey becomes a killer. I thought at first, is this how they plan to keep the series going after this one? Or, I was also thinking, oh, please don't be like Friday the 13th Part 5, where they had an imposter Jason. But also poorly directed. I definitely thought this movie could have been longer, especially how this is supposed to be the last one in the trilogy and wrapping up Michael's story. They definitely could have had Michael in the movie more, or show up earlier. At the end, Corey goes after Laurie because he wants Allison to himself. After Laurie stops him, he kills himself, framing Laurie. But Michael Myers shows up. Laurie has one last big fight with him. Allison and Laurie kill Michael, and the townspeople decide to parade Michael's body through town, showing everyone that evil is actually dead. That way they could stop the rumors and the myths. And then they throw Michael's body into like a giant trash compactor grinder thing, and they grind up Michael. This is definitely the end of this storyline. I'm alright with this ending. I just wish Michael was in the movie a little bit more, so it'd feel more like a Halloween movie. Yeah, I know in the future somebody else is gonna reboot this or remake Halloween, whether it's gonna take place from here or like another storyline. But this, they definitely can't come back from. I understand there are some fans that hate this. That's alright, everyone has different opinions. I jokingly said the most violent death in this movie is when the pumpkin pie gets burned, because I really love pumpkin pie. Again, I really like this movie. It did feel a little off, that's why I give it a 7 out of 10 pumpkins. I know there's going to be people on the internet who hate me and are going to say I'm wrong just because I didn't hate it. That's alright. I like that they tried to do different things with this. They didn't just do Michael stabs people for 2 hours. And they didn't do anything extremely silly. Alright, thank you for watching my video.
That makes you want to rip off your shirt and show Grief your fucking tits and say, you know what? Let's go.